to me what this resentful dependency is, because you're the only one talking about this.
Well, actually, it's the love-hate relationship that Republicans are beginning to have with Donald Trump, Republicans who supported Donald Trump. And it happens like this. When a customer, a consumer in the marketplace has only one choice to get a product or a service, and that company takes advantage of them. Say, for example, remember the old cable company in the pre-DirecTV days?
Sure.
They were our only choice. And what happened? Cable service deteriorated. They were rude on the phone, didn't show up for appointments, but we had to stick with them anyway. So what happened? Resentment builds up, and one day you get a choice, you blow them out. Donald Trump is in that same position now. Resentment is building up among even his supporters. He's the only choice. The alternative is Nancy Pelosi or the Washington establishment with the Republicans. So his voters got to stick with him. But they're just tired of the drama and having to defend him and being embarrassed by the language and things that are not true being said. Pressure is building up.
Alex, where do you see that from? The callers I get, emails I get, I don't see it. His poll ratings, still good 38, 40%. So I would think his core supporters are still very much with him.
That's a good point. Where we're seeing it is in two places. One is his supporters are sticking with him. That's why the resentment is building up. When you go to focus groups, when you talk to voters about why they're supporting Trump, they still want him to change Washington. They still see him as the only thing standing between them and the Washington establishment running loose and devouring the country. So they're backing him. They're just getting worn out with all the tangential stuff, the tweeting, the drama, the bad language. They want him to focus on their job. So you're seeing it there in focus groups, but you're also seeing it in that other survey, our elected officials, the Senate, for example. They've imposed Russian sanctions. Which means they took power away from Trump to negotiate with Russia. McCain killed the health care bill. Republicans are not going to do health care this year. They may not even do taxes now. They're telling Donald Trump they're not afraid of him anymore. And they're very sensitive to the public mood. So that's where you're seeing it.
I thought it was most interesting that Jeff Flake, who was up for re-election in Arizona, came out with not a criticism of Donald Trump, but a scathing indictment of him and the party.
Right. And that tells you something about that even Trump supporters want to see their man succeed, but they want to brake pedal on Trump's car. They want somebody to help Trump focus and do the things they sent him to Washington to do. So now, yes, you're seeing support for Republicans to, they want John Kelly to succeed and send Donald Trump to boot camp, whip him into shape, and help him get the job done.
But Donald Trump's not a Republican
right.
in the tradition. Like Jeff Flake is much more of a Republican than Donald Trump. And so these supporters want him to be a Republican, or do they want him to be... What do they want him to be? Because they still want health care. They just don't want anybody else to get health care, and that's not the way it's going to work.
The biggest thing that Donald Trump supporters want, they actually think he's doing a good job on a lot of the policy things. He was pushing back on Russia. He was putting pressure on China to help us with North Korea. He'd rebuilt relationships with Israel. He's talking tough to American companies and making them think twice before they ship jobs overseas. He's appointed a good Supreme Court justice, and there are more to come. It's just the tangential drama around it all that they see that is paralyzing Congress. And that's the one thing they want Trump to get right that he hasn't gotten right yet.
Alex, this is interesting coming from you because, as I said earlier, you're sort of Trump's what do I want to say? You're sort of a Trump linguist. You explain to us what Trump actually means.
An interpreter. I try to interpret Trumpism.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So coming from you, this is an interesting comment, I think.
I think the danger for the president is that the pressure is building up in the pressure cooker, even among his supporters, who are sticking with him, but he's making it just so tough that one day Trump supporters may feel it's more important to discipline this president by not showing up at the polls than it is to support him.
Resentful dependency. Interesting concept. Alex Castellanos, thanks for joining us.
Take care.
ABC News political analyst Alex Castellanos with us. 709 Big 5.